Have you ever been involved in an emergency situation? I was in Anaheim, California a while back, and I'll never forget, it was about 11, 12 o'clock, getting ready for bed in PJs, and all of a sudden, banging the door, police, they were yelling. They had to get everybody out of this big, whatever it was, 10-story hotel. Why? Because there was a bomb threat. Somebody called and said it was going off. We ran. It was scary. It was an emergency. Do you know that we're facing an emergency in America with what's going on the border? We've got to know how to address it. State, listen. Many people don't realize the catastrophic situation we're facing on our border. Now, let me tell you, I speak from firsthand knowledge, not only talking with people, but I've been to Mexico to plant churches. I've been to El Paso probably about 20 times. And you can see and talk today with people, and they say we're facing an emergency. Now, some people are kind of laissez-faire about this. They don't think it's that serious. Well, let me tell you this. You know, when I went to Mexico, I had a lot of fun with the people. They gave me a big sombrero, and, you know, we had the Mexican food. And many people think, well, you know, you have a lot of Hispanic, Mexican people coming over, but it's not affecting me. But do you realize how serious this situation is? And what is the strategy of leftist progressives? It's not just a matter of people pouring into America, but what's happening is the mayor of New York City is saying this is destroying our city. If you ever been to San Diego, it's beautiful. How about La Jolla Beach? Do you know that in 2 months, over 43,000 people have invaded that locality? It's cost that one county over $2 to $3 million. This kind of a situation is raiding our resources. It's bringing people into the country that are coming with fentanyl. Do you know that in Texas, they have literally ignored or defied, whatever you want to say, Governor Abbott, an order that says you can't have a wire here that restricts illegal aliens from coming in. Well, the governor and other governors in America are all rising up to say, no, we don't follow this because our own Constitution tells us if there is an invasion, then a state has to provide protection. I want you to watch this film clip of a news report to just underscore what I'm saying. Watch this.
Texas authorities continue to clash with the federal government when it comes to our border. Texas seemingly finding a loophole in the Supreme Court's decision. The Supreme Court gave Border Patrol permission to cut or remove razor wire at the border, but they did not say anything about Texas putting up more wire, which, as you can see in this video, is exactly what the Texas National Guard soldiers are doing. Razor wire defense lines along the border being reinforced. Governor Greg Abbott asserting the state's right to self-defense. In a letter posted on X, Abbott citing founding fathers James Madison and Alexander Hamilton, not leaving states to the mercy of outside threats. Abbott argues the federal government has failed to follow its constitutional duty to protect each state against invasion. Abbott writing it triggers the line acknowledging the state's sovereign interest in protecting their borders. That authority, Abbott wrote, supersedes any federal statutes to the contrary. Republican lawmakers in Washington expressing frustration over any deal on a bill that might clear things up.
The Biden administration went to the Supreme Court to say they want to make sure that Texas cannot keep their border secure.
So, Keith and Madison, it will definitely be interesting to see what happens next since Texas officials are not backing down.
What's happening in Texas, you might say, well, that doesn't affect me. I'm safe from that kind of stuff. Well, do you know the strategy of the progressives? It's got 4 aspects to it. Number 1, they want to flood the border with illegal aliens. They're coming in, they're being let go. Previously, under the previous administration, they would be deported. We had a back to Mexico policy. A border wall was being put forth. But now it's anybody come on in. The president, what does he say? Yeah, you can get free health care. California is saying you get free medical care. So the word is out in El Salvador, Nicaragua, and it's over 130 countries are invading our border and raiding our resources. So the first thing is flood the country with illegal aliens. Why? Because number two, then this will further the goal of having a one-party dominance. Yes, a leftist, progressive Democrat party that will control things. Then number three, bring in the drugs. Do you know that enough drugs have come in the past year? This is fentanyl, lethal, to kill every man, woman, and child in the United States. You say, whoa, I didn't realize it was that serious. 106,000 died the previous year, and it's just increasing. And this is part of a Marxist strategy to destroy America. And lastly, once progressives get in office again, if they can pull it off, then they're going to say it's time to have what? Amnesty for all. All 10, 12 million that have come in now and the other 15 million that are here, let's just declare amnesty and have 25 million that'll be here. Well, folks, you say, Larry, we can't have this. Well, you're right. And we've got to take a stand right now because of what is happening. What's happening in Texas is the governor has said enough is enough. And he said we have to protect our state. And so what has he done? They put up razor wire, as you know. And then when the federal government, the Supreme Court said, well, it has to come down, they're ignoring the order because they're saying our Constitution says we have to defend ourselves if there is an invasion. And that is exactly what this is. Do you know that recently 10 retired FBI counterintelligence experts, FBI experts, they issued a warning statement and they said we have an insidious invasion into this country right now with all of these foreign nationals, illegal immigrants. They're breaking the law, they're not being vetted, and we have sex trafficking, we have smugglers, cartels bringing in the drugs. We have people's lives are being destroyed, and the word is out on the streets. Go to America. You get all this free stuff. You get free food stamps. You get education, health care, and residence. It'll all be taken care of. And what is the man that's in the White House doing? He doesn't seem to care, or maybe he doesn't even understand. Now, I want you to join with me. We've got to be in prayer, because this is contrary to being obedient to governing authorities when our own leader in the White House doesn't protect us. That's his primary duty. And so I want you to watch this video. It's a bullseye video. It's only about 3.5 minutes, but I'm showing you this. Watch it again, show it to others so that you are equipped, always ready to answer. And in this election year, you have to be able to stand up and speak intelligently as an informed influencer. And you can see in this video, watch it now, there's at least 3 important points. Memorize them, articulate them, so that we can preserve our nation, our national security, and stop this onslaught that is a demonic scheme to destroy our nation. It will affect you, your children, your grandchildren, our economy. It is the number one issue. Not inflation, not the economy, not crime. The number one issue among Democrat, Republicans, and it's got to be addressed. And you can be a part of the solution. Watch. Let's look at 3 steps to solve immigration the Jesus way. You know, my father was an immigrant. He came here from Poland as a child. We lived in really poverty with no car, no vacations. My dad worked as a janitor. My disabled mother scrubbed floors on her knees 3 days a week. I start here because I have real compassion for immigrants and I support immigration, legal immigration. Many well-intentioned, but I believe misdirected individuals, and I respectfully include here presidents and presidential candidates, influential politicians, and even news commentators, they seem to believe the compassionate solution to the escalating border crisis is just extend our arms and declare, y'all come in. Guilt is projected on any of us who sincerely disagree and dare to say, you're missing it. You're not handling this the way Jesus would. So who's right? Well, let's take a look at this. Over 4 decades ago, I worked at the AFL-CIO headquarters, right across the street from the White House in D.C. My job was in the Community Relations Department, helping union members and families with humanitarian needs outside of the contract of a union. Early on, I discovered there are requirements and limitations to assistance that's being offered. You know, in Matthew 22, Jesus told a parable of a man desiring entrance to an event, but he was refused entrance because he didn't honor the requirements. In Matthew 25, Jesus told of 10 young maidens desiring to gain entrance to a special occasion, and yet 5 were turned away, called fools. Why? Because they didn't fulfill the requirements. Let me give you 3 steps to solve the crisis. Number 1, we need to extend genuine love to all immigrants. You look in the Old Testament, immigrants were to be granted acceptance. You'll see in the chapter, the verses here. They were given opportunities to collect food, and they were to be treated justly. This wasn't just some blanket entitlement, because God required the immigrants to keep the laws of the land, just like the native people. Number 2, respect realistic limitations. If a lifeboat has a sign that says limit of 12, it can appear compassionate and say, well, let's put 25 in, but the result will be the drowning of everyone. Today, America faces $19 trillion in debt. Cities are going bankrupt or on the precipice of insolvency. The welfare system is exploding. We're stretched to the max in our emergency rooms, schools, healthcare, and social service agencies. We need limits. Number 3, obey the government and its laws. It's unmistakable that the divine directive is for citizens obey governing authorities. You'll see the verses. The one exception is if government forces us to violate a law of God. Now be honest, what is your reaction when you've stood in line for 20, 30 minutes for a ticket, maybe a restaurant seat, and someone just barges in and says, give me it. You'd say, hey, wait, excuse me, you need to wait in line like the rest of us. We must, I say it again, build up and extend the long overdue border fences. Yes, walls and fences do work. Why else do we have them around the White House? How about Israel, China? They've relied on them for decades, centuries. The Wall of China is 13,000 miles long, was built centuries before Jesus. It works for them. When elitists who live in their gated communities tell us fences don't work, I ask them, well then, why do you have them? Let me say this, when the bathtub's overflowing, the first thing you do is turn off the water. You don't debate whether to use a rag or a mop. The number 1 priority is shut off the water. This is a pivotal time, and it's a defining moment in our history. We need a unified response here in America.
Hey friends, if you felt this video was helpful, make sure you like and subscribe so you get notified once new videos become available. Thanks.